Hello, and thank you for joining me in another video. And today we are talking about my biggest holding and probably my favorite stock, which is Rocket Lab. First of all, if you are new here, my name's Howard. I'm a retail investor for over 10 years now, and I recently created this channel just to share my investing research and actions. And if you're not new here, thank you for joining me once again for another video. Now, let's get into the topic of this video, which is Rocket Lab, and more specifically Mynaric, which is a business they announced nearly a year ago now that they were going to be acquiring. Now, this has kind of stalled and gone on for a lot longer than people were thinking. We know it's had some problems kind of with the German government and the bureaucracy over there with getting this deal through. We've had some more news come out yesterday, I believe it was, to kind of also indicate that this deal might possibly be in trouble. So let's get on to that now. So we've had this from Business Insider in Germany, and I believe somewhere else, another German kind of news website might have been reporting it as well. But it's basically announcing that Rheinmetall, which I think is a German defense contractor, is also looking at acquiring Mynaric, and they've kind of come in with another bid. And the announcement, if we go down to it here, is that they're showing interest in a national solution for Mynaric, and thus competing with US buyer Rocket Lab. As far as I'm aware, like, they shouldn't really be able to do this. Like, once you have signed a contract to acquire a company, they can't really go around shopping for better deals and for other people to also bid on it once they've already got the price locked in. However, it does look like this deal has not been going through as quickly as it should be because of this kind of national security issue that the German government have been bringing up. And the idea behind this is basically that this is a core technology for national security. It's to do with like space domain awareness a little bit and communicating between satellites. Do they want to sell this onto a US-based company and get rid of this technology, essentially? And also, especially with all the stuff at the moment with the US pushing Europe and other countries to spend more on defense and saying, you know, you can't just rely on us. Maybe that is also considering, meaning that Germany wants to hold on to some stuff like this. What it looks like basically is these rumors are saying that there's another bidder looking for Mynaric, and with all the stalling that's been going on, this bidder is probably supported by the government as well, as it's a German-based company. I think if this was happening in the US, it would have gone through quickly and this bidder wouldn't be allowed. But it looks like this company, Rheinmetall, has come in and said, hey, we're a German company. We can keep this inside of Germany. Even though Mynaric will be keeping their headquarters in Germany if Rocket Lab acquires it, actually keep the whole business based in Germany. And that's why I think if this is true, this offer is being given some credence. And it wouldn't surprise me if it gets looked at very, very heavily. If this was another US company, I don't even think it would be allowed. But the fact that it's stalling for these reasons and the German company's in there, there might be something to this. So we know that this is the news. What I want to go into is actually, let's talk about what Mynaric is as a company, what it does, what technology does. And if this does fall through, what can Rocket Lab do about it? Because I think they do have a lot of good options. So first of all, let's get into, I've also got here as well, just so we can see, this is the official announcement that we had. And this was back in March 11. So it's pushing on a year since this was announced. And since Mynaric acquisition got announced they were buying another company, Geost, which I think is important, we'll get onto, and have closed that deal since then. So it really is dragging along this one. So let's go on to talk about, okay, what does Mynaric actually do? So this is laser communications in space. And what this basically enables, if we're looking at webs of satellites or constellations of satellites, it enables them to communicate between the satellites really, really fast and securely. So this enables basically, if you've got a constellation of satellites, you don't have to speak to a satellite. That satellite will have to then put it down to a ground station, and then that will travel, the communication will travel through the ground. This basically enables, say, we'll go to Starlink as an example. Your one Starlink dish, it can send information up to Starlink. Those Starlinks don't have to send it straight back down to a ground communications platform. They can pass the information along through them in the web of space at the speed of light. It's much quicker. And also it's a lot more secure as well. You're not relying on like radio frequencies to come back down. You've got a single laser which comes out of one satellite and goes into the receiving satellite very securely. You're not beaming it around everywhere. It's just in that laser communication. So it's faster and more secure, and it's kind of controlled a lot more by the satellite. You're not involving radio frequencies. So That is essentially what this does. Looking into what Rocket Lab wants to get into, and basically what every space company is going to be getting into, it's large constellations. And it's a huge benefit if these constellations don't have to beam up and down, but they can communicate between each other very fast and efficiently with laser links. I'll go on to here as well. So I watched the very first prototype Starlink satellites get launched years and years ago now. When they just launched 2 of them, I believe it was. So I've seen Starlink grow from the start when I used to watch the Falcon 9 launches, pretty much every one. And I still remember, we're on the Starlink website now. I still remember when they announced the next version of their satellites, which they just started launching, which had laser communications. Starlink didn't always have these. It was something that SpaceX developed an in-house version. And then that's now in all of their satellites that they launched. But to give you a look here, you can see out of all the stuff they're equipped with, we've got optical space lasers. Each Starlink contains 3 space lasers, optical inter-satellite links or ISLs, operating at up to 200 gigabytes per second, which together across the constellation form a global internet mesh that can connect customers anywhere in the world. So you've got this mesh around the whole of Earth that can all speak to each other without having to go down to the ground until the final point when it needs to. And they have 3 of these basically, so they can cover all 3 dimensions around the satellite and communicate anywhere, I believe, the same as reaction wheels. So that's what this is used for. Looking into what Rocket Lab wants to do in the future, we know they want to own every single part of the manufacturing process, and that involves either building it themselves or acquiring other businesses. Mynaric was a very troubled business. It was not making money, and now it's having real problems in scaling production, which is one of the big things when we're talking about technical products like this. It's not just making one. Can you make 1,000 of them reliably and predictably and keep the quality nice and high? Now, having trouble with that, and the company was going under, which is where Rocket Lab stepped in. When they announced they were stepping in, the company, I believe, went through a restructuring process, had to get some debt and stuff like that, basically to keep the business running until it could be acquired by Rocket Lab. And also they're critical to national security. Mynaric is already making, their terminals are being used for, I think, the SDA Tranche 2 award. So Rocket Lab makes those satellites, and Mynaric is a supplier for that as well. So they're very crucial already in the SDA and the government's defense contracts. So what's happened, it looks like, is this has been ongoing and it's starting to fall through. The fact that we're hearing about this now, Rocket Lab will have known that this is stalling, I think, or going a lot slower than it should be. I think also with the fact that this is already a supplier for Rocket Lab, they're going to be very intertwined with this business. They're already going to be, we've got the acquisition going along and they're a customer. It wouldn't surprise me if there is a lot of knowledge in Rocket Lab about what is happening inside Mynaric and what their problems are, and maybe even they were trying to help at this stage already. Obviously, there's limited amounts they can do because they don't own the company, but as a contractor, I'm sure there's a lot of information that Rocket Lab just knows about how Mynaric operates, and it's already been trying to help them. It also wouldn't surprise me if, knowing that this deal is stalling, they've also been working in the background of what they can do in the background or how easy this will be to replicate. And they're already building and delivering, I believe, Tranche 2 satellites, or they should already be implementing these Mynaric terminals onto the Tranche 2 satellites. They know a lot about the product. And then we're going to go over to this on the Rocket Lab's website. As you know, last year, they recently acquired Geost, which is a payload all about sensing and detecting stuff on Earth with a range of different sensors. And they acquired this company, and it was pretty crucial into them getting their Tranche 3 award, I believe, because it's crucial for space domain awareness. What do these payloads give us? So a lot of it's optical systems, and these are the 3 optical systems we've got here. So this is what Rocket Lab now produces in-house: space domain awareness, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and starlight, space projection, and survivability, protection and survivability. We got here what they do already produce. Rocket Lab optical system provides higher performance electro-optical and infrared sensors. So we know that a lot of this is for surveying the Earth. This is why they're getting these government contracts, and they're using infrared and optical sensors for surveying Earth. We've also got here secure laser communications and advanced mission autonomy solutions. So how much of this secure laser communications do they actually already have in-house? I'm not saying that this is a ready to go, they can already do this, but they clearly since they announced they're acquiring Mynaric, they have acquired a payload company that is doing a lot of stuff with optical sensing, and it already says on their website that they're doing something with secure laser communications. The idea that they do make secure laser communications, to the idea that this might be already available or already have the ability to speak between a big constellation, I'm not sure. But if we're not acquiring Mynaric, and this does fall through and they have to keep it inside Germany, the route would be Rocket Lab creating their own. Adam Spice has already spoken about they're acquiring companies because it's faster, but he's already said that he speaks to Peter Beck and they kind of decide, okay, if they need to make something in-house, give me this much money, give me this much time, and we will do it. And what I think is if they don't acquire Mynaric, they're going to have to get some of this technology and build it on their own, because it's a crucial bit of technology. And I think they're in a very, very good standpoint to build this on their own. They've worked with Mynaric. They're very, very deep in the weeds of Mynaric, because they've got to the point of offering them, saying they're going to buy the company, and a year long, probably helping at some point and learning a bit about the technology. And then they've also since acquired this company, which already operates in laser communications and a lot of optical payloads. I think they're in a really good position to make this product themselves. Of course, I know very little about the hardware and how it operates, but it seems to me that it's not going to be something that's impossible for Rocket Lab to do. And I think if it was to announce that Mynaric is falling through and they have to start doing this today, I think a lot of the groundwork is already in place. I do not think that they're going to be starting completely from scratch with what they've already got here and also the other information they know. So what's my thoughts on this? The way it's been dragging its heels and has really been delaying through because of the German government, this doesn't surprise me. I think if this was a US company bidding, it wouldn't be allowed. But the fact that they're kind of tentative about it and now a German company comes in, it wouldn't surprise me if this does fall through. Of course, it shouldn't fall through. They've already signed the papers and it should be going through. But the government has the final say at the end of the day, and they can decide if it doesn't go through for national security reasons, and this would be the case. So it does look like it's certainly plausible. Like, it makes sense that it's taken this long and now another bidder has come into place. I think hopefully this does still go through. Rocket Lab said they already want to buy this company and they're already planning to buy this company. But if it doesn't, I do think we're in a really good kind of position Rocket Lab are in a really good position to make this software, this hardware themselves. So that's kind of where I stand on this. I'm not really too bothered about this. It's not as if it's going to be impossible for Rocket Lab to ever produce their own laser communications in the future. I don't think that's true. SpaceX developed it themselves years and years ago. I think Rocket Lab is in a fantastic position to do that themselves if they need to. So that is my position on this whole thing. I'd love to know your thoughts on it as well. Was it something that's worrying you? And do you think this is even going to go ahead? Or do you think Rocket Lab is going to acquire them as planned? I would love to know your thoughts on this. And if it doesn't go through, what are your thoughts on kind of what I've spoken about there on can what we've got with Geost already help us along the way to build these communications faster? So I hope you found this useful. I just wanted to give a bit of context of I've followed kind of these laser communications since SpaceX first introduced them, and I kind of know a little bit more about them with the acquisition and stuff like that. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents on how I'm thinking about it. So I do hope that this was useful. Please do subscribe along if you're looking for more Rocket Lab content. As I mentioned before, it's my biggest holding. It's a super exciting company, so I'm going to be making lots more videos on this. And apart from that, thank you for joining me, and I will see you on the very next video.